Yes, hi. This is Lauren Raysor. I've been asked several questions over the last few months to weigh in. I usually don't like publicly to talk about open cases. Generally, they say lawyers should really comment on open cases because jurors hear, if they're selected in those cases, jurors will actually hear if you're talking about it online. That could possibly persuade them in a certain way. So, but because I've been asked a few times about several cases, first of all, you always start out with everyone is innocent before they're proven guilty. That's number one. So they have a right to, protest the charges that are brought by the Southern District. And the Southern District United States Attorney, I understand, I don't remember his last name, Damien, they say that he is quitting before he gets probably fired under the incoming Trump administration. So we're not sure where these cases are going to go under a Trump administration. And that's really what people, just like the horse races or in Las Vegas, people are actually following. That's what you have to follow. That under the Trump administration, will they continue to investigate a Sean Combs, or will they investigate a Eric Adams, who happens to be a Democrat? It's more likely that they would investigate a Democrat opposed to Sean Puppy Combs. And, so that's basically what is going to be pending before when this new administration gets in. The Southern District is the most highly respected federal office probably around the country. So they do an incredible investigation. I'm sure before they brought a high-profile case like this, they had their ducks in order. I know that they were investigating up in Mount Vernon. I don't know what happened. Civil rights cases, they were investigating up in Mount Vernon, but there was really no conclusion that the public knows about. And so in terms of the P. Diddy matter, and what he has done with the people that have accused him of all of these heinous crimes, if it's true, then of course he should do time. The question comes down to whether it'll be equal justice. That's where we have the question. The question will be, are we going to prosecute a Sean Puppy Combs? Are we going to prosecute an Eric Adams and then let the former president skedaddle out of office and skedaddle out of his own, all the criminal cases he has? So we see a two-tier system of justice. There is a pending case that a jury convicted him of in Manhattan, and the judge is just dangling that on and on and on. The only tough one is Judge Chuckins, who is in Washington, D.C. She said, in her opinion, which she'll probably appeal, in her opinion, she said this former president, who now will become president, can be prosecuted. She said that. Unlike the judges in the other cases who say he has full immunity, this court basically says Judge Chuckin, who is a black female from the island, I believe from Jamaica, who's used to toughness, who's used to a lot of corruption, basically said that he has to go to trial and that he will not automatically get qualified immunity from all of these crimes. She says he can be prosecuted. Now, whether he can be, and the reason why the Southern District, the gentleman who prosecuted him in the case involving the document stealing and the alleged document stealing, because there's a theory that once someone is the president, the Justice Department's theory is that they no longer want to prosecute a sitting president. That has been their, what their rules are. They don't go after a sitting president. So now you have a sitting president. I think we're all in uncharted waters here. And it's like that movie with Joan Crawford and Betty Davis. And she said at some cocktail party, I know a lot of people don't even know who they are, so I'm assuming you just know who Betty Davis is and you know who Joan Crawford is, and probably you don't. So look at whatever happened to Baby Jane. If you look up that movie, you'll see them both. They remind me of my aunt, one of my aunts. As a matter of fact, both two aunts I have. They remind me of those two. And my family will know who those two aunts are. God rest their soul. But the fact of the matter is, what they said in that movie was, hold on, get ready for a bumpy ride. Well, that's what we're going to have here. We're in uncharted waters on every level of politics. We never had a president come back and become a president again. So all of that is, we've never had a president who's never really been successful as a president, running for president and winning. So we have appointments that are incredibly destructive of the country, but I think probably that's the goal, to be destructive, to wreck the place. So we don't know how this president is going to deal with Russia, how he's going to handle Ukraine. So I guess the question is whether these two cases involving the mayor of New York City, and that involved a bribery, alleged bribery he took from the Turkish government. And, they lay out where, he took some trips and things like that. Why it came up now, we don't know. So that's what that case is about against the mayor of New York City. The question is whether he should step down. Governor Hochul, I hate to say, doesn't have the guts to tell him to do it, because she'll lose the black vote. I guess that's what it is. And I think with regard to the case with Sean Puffy Combs, who knows? He could get convicted, and then depending on, because they were saying that the former president, now becoming a new president, was selling pardons. So we have no, so P. Diddy, get all your money together, your $1 billion together, because you might have to buy a pardon. Because even if you're convicted under Trump, he can actually pardon you from criminal prosecution. And the question would be, all of those individuals who participated in January 6th of last year or 2 years ago, will he pardon any of those that are still being prosecuted or are in jail? So, but with regard to this case, it's troubling. It's well known. People knew about it, and the question is, how do you sell your soul in order to get a record deal? And that's what the troubling part is. Which would you do? Would you sell your soul in order to get up there in the ranks? And I think there are a lot of people who are willing to do that in order to become famous. And so, we're not clear on who's to blame here, because if you're underage, that's one thing, but if you're of age and had the ability to walk away and you still participated because of the fame and goal, I'm not sure whose fault it is. But I understand that the indictment alleges sexual assault. We saw the assault, so we know he has issues on that level. But it really depends. I believe he'll be convicted, but I also believe that the possibility he will be pardoned. So if his case goes when he's under Trump. So that was basically my thought about that. And It's in all industries. This is not just the music industry. It's in the fashion industry. It's this type of sexual predatory behavior. It's on Wall Street. Women have been chased around desks in order to keep their jobs. I guess it happens to men too. But I'm just saying this is not new. It's just that it went on, and we didn't think it was as prevalent in the rap community like this. But I've heard, and the women don't want to come forward. They absolutely don't. But I know of several women, matter of fact, 3 or 4 women that were sexually assaulted by members of the music industry, particularly the black music industry. They are in fear of what will happen to them. So a lot of women that do come forward are very brave, but they're going to be vilified over and over and over again. So I think we're in uncharted waters. I want to talk about this a little more later on. And I'm going to talk even further about my book called Living the Wealthy Life. And the reason why I brought it up, there are segments of the book that I think there are important discussions, choosing friends wisely, because we got to tell our young kids about that. How do you choose a friend? So I'm going to talk about those, not just legal issues, but heady issues. How do you choose your friends? We have to say that and talk about that, because we have kids that are going to school, innocent kids that are going to school. I tell my niece, tell your daughter, make sure she knows who are, just don't go with anybody because they say you're their friend. You've got to figure out how, and I know I'm segueing into somewhere else, but that's more important to me to talk about. So we give young people some advice on how to choose. Like maybe you need a job application, similar to job application, to choosing your friends. Because I can tell you, if I had used my job application, I know there are many people, well, not many, but there are people that are really unqualified. So in terms of what it is that I want out of life. So but the one thing I can say, you're never too old to learn, and you're never too old to give it away. So I'm going to sign off. Remember, my book is Living the Wealthy Life. I have t-shirts called Living Responsibly, and I also have a wonderful, which I should hold up, a wonderful fan, not fan, but an actual fan. And I have that fan that I give away that has some knowledge on the back. And, it's about living a wealthy life, but it's about, and I'm a little bit worried because I came up with an epiphany. I put it on my Facebook page, and I came up with an epiphany about behavior and narcissistic behavior. And I'm not a shrink or anything, but I've learned this: narcissistic versus survivalistic. And we tend to think the wrong people are those, the names of those that we attach it to the wrong people. Sometimes when you're calling somebody narcissistic, it could be you that's really narcissistic.